Guys, we got about 2 weeks left in the Big Brother 22 game and about 2 weeks until there's a new Big Brother family member. Rachel Reilly's here, Dani. This is so cool.
A Brental baby.
A Brental baby on the way.
Yeah, look, I just have to show the belly bump again. It's so big, right? Actually, it's so funny because when you get this close to your pregnancy, you're just like comparing, like, is it a watermelon? Is it a basketball? Is it like what item is it this week? That's what I keep looking up.
Well, congratulations to you. This is exciting. Yeah, the Big Brother family is getting a little bit bigger with a new addition. Are you revealing boy, girl yet? All that stuff, Rachel?
Yeah, we're having a boy.
Yay!
And Danielle, hey, you probably know this. Like, every pregnancy is so different. It feels like with this one, I am like sitting lower and it's way bigger, and you have different things going on. It's just so crazy.
We needed to get you because our very own Big Brother 13 winner in the house to weigh in on this season. We don't know how much time we have with you, but we've got some Q&A with Memphis that we could even get you in on. The newest evictee is, of course, the guy who was the puppet master for so long. So it's really shocking. But we do want to, before we get into all of the game and all of that kind of stuff, talk about something that's really, really important. And Dani, kind of talk about this because Rachel reached out to you.
Yeah, so we had the Big Brother family. We're all a little crazy in our own special way. So I guess a video surfaced that happened a couple years ago with the infamous Evel Dick, basically having the Reilly sisters on, and a word was dropped, and uncomfortable as it may, it was shocking. I didn't know about it, and I was like, oh, this is not okay. And when I watched the video, I could see how Rachel and her sister were like, oh, wow, this is, whew. And so, I'm glad. I just want to address it with you because you have the platform to speak what's on your heart, because I know you as a person, so I totally respect you as a player and as a friend. So go ahead and share and take us how you were going through when that word was dropped. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, thank you. So same, and I wanted to talk to you about it because I totally respect you as a person and as an individual. And I know I've been reached out to a bunch of people to talk about this, and I just haven't really felt comfortable talking to a lot of people about it. And especially with having a baby in 2 weeks, it's something that is put a lot of stress on me because it's such a shock when you're in that situation and you are expecting to have a conversation, especially about Big Brother, and to hear that word used. And so, and then I was shocked also that the clip resurfaced because when it's spliced together, and I don't know, there's actually the full clip is actually now posted online. I saw that on Twitter as well. But my sister and I, we reacted, like my eyes got huge and I was like, you can't say that word. Right. And I even said to him, he was horrible. And my sister said she felt uncomfortable and she wanted to get off the call. And that, it's just, she said, I feel like you should never be saying that word ever. And it's not okay. And so I think for me, I wanted to kind of, address that and just to talk about it. And then also maybe kind of ask your opinion, like how do you handle that situation? And what are you supposed to do? And, it's a shock because it's something that you don't expect, but then it's also something I don't condone. And it's something that I feel like is awful. And it's just such a bad situation to be put in.
I think it's imperative that we educate people first and foremost. When you're in a situation when someone says something that is not appropriate, you should call them out right there. And a lot of times people are scared to speak up. I don't think you need to attack someone, but I think it's important that we have decent civil conversations. I was in a situation years ago. I was at a girlfriend's party and her friend was telling the story and she dropped the N-word. And I went, no, that's not good. You can't say that word. And she looked at me. I said, you can't say that word. I said, I don't care if you're telling the story, you cannot say it. And I didn't make a scene, but she apologized later. So I think I think a lot of times people are like, oh, that person's racist. And that doesn't necessarily the person is racist. I think they said a racist word, right? So I think it's imperative to have conversations. So you cannot say it. It's not good. And that's it. And when they know, and the thing is, when I make myself clear with someone, they may say it later on to somebody else, but they won't say it in my presence. They know where I stand. So I think it's imperative that we just have those decent conversations and be respectful and tell them why that word offends you and why it's not okay. And hopefully they learn and won't use the word. And there's some people that just, you can talk to your purple and they're just not going to get it. But then you just know, okay, well, I just won't associate myself with you. That's it.
Yeah.
Dani, I think something too is just, now this is resurfaced years later, and it's, at a time where you said, Rachel, this is stressful for you. You're right here in the last few weeks of your pregnancy. Like I don't even know how what she should say to people who are reaching out to her now, because fans are seeing this. Some who may not have even known about Big Brother years ago when this was originally a thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and not only are the fans reaching out, but it's the whole Big Brother community. And I think for me also, I do view this as a learning point and like something where we can educate people on, because I think a lot of people wouldn't know how to react in this situation. And I read an article even that said, oh, she handled it like any other talk show guest would, like in a non-confrontational way, and said it wasn't okay to say that. And, even said we need to leave the podcast. But I think that other people see that, and everyone has the right to feel how they feel about it. And of course, and I think people don't understand how they should react in that situation, especially like you said, it could be with friends, or it could be on a podcast or a TV show, or, like these things come up. And it's like, I think it's important. And I would like to use this as a learning lesson also for myself, but also to educate people on how the best way to react, because, my immediate reaction was like complete shock and disbelief. Right. And it just came out of my mouth where I was like, you can't say that word. And it was like, you're horrible. That's horrible. And then it took my sister a second to step back and say, wow, like, I don't think anyone should say that. I feel really uncomfortable. I want to get off this phone call. But unfortunately that part wasn't even shown in the clip, because the clip is kind of cut, which is odd. Yeah. I don't know why they clip the cut or cut the clip up like that. But,
well, you can clearly see the demeanor. It was just, you're like, whoa, this is so awkward.
Yeah, it was really, and the situation, I just remember going back to it. I was just thinking like in my head that I must have just been just so shocked, because my eyes were just like grew like saucers, and you can just, I could just tell that it's just such an it's a situation that nobody wants to be in.
No.
And so let's go through this again for people who don't know. From this season, Dani Donato, her dad, Dick Donato, does a talk show podcast thing and invites some of the Big Brother contestants to be on this. And so you were saying this is a couple of years back. Do you know what year this happened in, Rachel?
Yeah, it was from 2014.
Okay, so 2014.
Oh, that's a while ago.
Yeah, so six summers ago.
Right.
And now it's just resurfaced, and probably some new interest because his daughter Dani Donato was on this season, just became a member of the jury.
Let me just
and so
interject.
it comes back into the stratosphere online. Yeah, go ahead, Dani.
It's a feud, and I hate to say the rude feud, but it's more of a confrontational issue between Paul and Evel Dick. And as you know, Evel Dick is notorious when he has an issue with someone. He seems to post those negative comments, and then Paul has voiced his displeasure because the comments that Evel Dick attacks him on such a personal level. But I think Paul was using that to prove a point, that clip, and that's how it basically resurfaced.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear. It wasn't.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you knew.
Fans was not. It was not a fan. It was actually one of our Big Brother family members that posted it, and then it took off.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to say, and I was on with Big Brother Spoiler on Instagram Live Thursday night after the show, and it really did hit me something that we all went through something pretty incredible. I mean, Rachel, like, so Alyssa was on season 16 of Big Brother, but you were on about 100 different
Amazing Race, everything,
incarnations of
Lord.
2 Big Brother seasons, 3 amazing races, like what? But this summer in particular, because people amid a pandemic have given up their time with their families, not knowing if their loved ones could have the coronavirus and all this stuff. Like, this was a really tough summer to say yes to going on Big Brother. And so kudos to everybody. And we've had some fun, and we've, laughed at things when people did goofy stuff. David, talking to you. And we, Mr. 187. And, and we had a little bit of fun with calling Christmas every holiday that we could think of. But I mean, I just have to say kudos to everybody who's been on the show. And for this season, really in particular, but we've all been in there, and it's a strange thing. And we are this dysfunctional family. Every summer, every contestant, every cast, they put themselves into a pressure cooker, and they give a lot so that, we at home in America can be entertained. And,
right.
and so, I just want to say that first and foremost, we got to give these guys, especially on the current season, a lot of grace and respect.
Yeah.
But, now once we get out, and we see some of the mistakes that people have made in there on those live feeds and done some of that stuff, I think we need to grow from that, and we need to mature, and we need to be better. And there have been some contestants who've said some things and done some things. And, you can go back to the episode of The Secret Alliance, and June talked about, she's like, I probably was a little bit of a knucklehead. And toward the end, I don't know what word she used to say that she was kind of disrespectful to some people, and maybe, just pushed a little bit, joked a little bit after having a few glasses of, some libations.
Right. Me too. On my original season,
there's growth, and so we want to have
grow.
growth.
We grow. It's
so that's what we need to do here.
We're all human beings. We make mistakes. Now, I think that we just, I always say, Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high, and I really take that to heart. We just got to be better human beings. And
I'll bring it back to something, since we got a mama here. Frozen. I mean, Dani too, but you got grandkids now. So, but
I know, right?
In Frozen, in the new Frozen here, Rachel, they say do the next right thing.
Right.
And so from here, even if a mistake is made, let's do the next right thing.
Right.
I mean, Elsa and Anna, you're getting
something. Woo, girl dad right there, girl dad.
Serious. I know. I think that was the last thing of the movie we saw in the theater. But that's the thing, and we hope that there's growth from this. And even though this is an old thing, it's resurfaced now, and it's a crucial time where we talk about this.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. And that's what I felt also. And I feel like it's so important now that this did resurface, and that we can, move forward and talk about it, and learn about the best way to handle these situations, because, obviously, like, these are, sensitive topics and things that we, like, obviously I don't condone that ever. I would never be okay with someone saying that. And I never personally want to offend anyone. I always try to take the high road. And like you've said, we've all done plenty of things. I even texted Danielle. I said, I'm not perfect. I have said plenty of things on my Big Brother seasons as well. And, in the things that we learn, we do take these things. We need to educate other people, because maybe someone else hasn't been in this situation, or they haven't really had the chance to really look back and think like, oh, if they were in that situation, how would they handle it? So things like that. And but yeah, that's like, it is and it's also uncomfortable to talk about, I think. And that's I think that's probably a lot of the problem also, because even for me, it's, it does cause like undue stress, because I don't want to be associated with that, and I don't want to be associated with this ever happening. But then it's like, well, it did happen, and maybe we can use this opportunity so other people can see how a good way to handle it, and how we can all move on.
Yep.
For Rachel and Dani, what would you like to see? I mean, do you think that, and I don't know, because this was from 2014 when this originally happened, did you ever get an apology? Did Dick ever make an apology for saying that? Okay. What came of that?
I did talk to him off camera too. And I remember him saying, because I said, I can never talk to you. You can't say that word. Like, that's not who I am. I don't condone it. And I do remember him saying, we all know how Dick is, you know, he says things and does things and he's a little controversial. And but I do remember saying, I can't do your podcast if you do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know he's also apologized on Twitter. I don't know how, Danielle, how do you feel about that situation?
I you know, to each his own. I was profoundly disappointed. It was, you know, I didn't think it was funny. I just, you know, but again, I just, you know, if we capitalize on negativity and focus on people's faults, it's hard something to, you know, I don't like to associate with something like that. You know, is that his platform? Then that's him, that's his business. But I choose to have a different type of platform. So therefore, I respectfully social distance myself on situations like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what I'm learning from this situation as well, is that I need to maybe be more careful about my platform as well, because I feel the same way. I try to take the high road. I don't like to go and destroy people and, you know, tear people down. And I don't want to be associated with things that are anything negative. That has anything negative.
Yeah. So that's my stance. You do you, but I won't be part of that. So
yeah. I think that's a good thing that, you know, when you see that happens, you go, I can't be a part of that. Do you have anything, Rachel, that you would hope, now that I didn't really understand that this was from Paul, and you know, some type of feud between the two of them, do you hope that there's some sort of, they come together? I mean, we are still part of this Big Brother family, and they apologize in addition, because, you know, now there's apparently bad blood between these guys, or more than there was. I don't know.
Well, there's a couple of bad blood with Evel Dick and several house guests.
Sure.
So, you know, it's just something that, you know, I was the villain on season 3, and I knew, as Jason and I knew I hurt some of the house guests by the stuff I said. So I know better, because I've been there, done that. And when you have people that say hateful things, you're still a human being, and it hurts. So I really try my best to look above and beyond any house guest that said things that are inappropriate. Now, there is probably 1 or 2 house guests that I just won't forgive at all. And that's just my personal opinion. And I won't name their names, but I just like, nope, and no. But I understand there's house guests that do say things, and I just try to encourage them to be better. All of them. I like to sit down and have conversations to see what their brain's at. Have they learned from their experience? Are you apologizing because you truly are apologetic, or are you apologizing because you got caught? Mm-hmm. So my belief is stuff like that does not magically appear when people say things like that, right? It has to be embedded in their soul. Okay. And if they can say stuff like that effortlessly, then we got a problem. So I'm not saying they can't overcome and become better, but I'm just saying you can say, well, that's not really me. No, it's you, because you said it so effortlessly, right? That didn't just magically appear. So that's, you know, when people show me their true colors, believe it. And that's just me. Now, I'm not saying people can't change. They can't change. But we will sit down and have a conversation about it. I'm always open to having a conversation. So there's 2 house guests I don't even want to have a conversation with.
Wow. See, Dani, this is something I didn't even know. One of these days, I'll get that out of you.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. I'll tell you. I'll
pour firm. That glass heavy with some.
You stand firm. You don't have to do that yet, because I just know, and I'm very firm about it. I won't take pictures with them. I won't. Wow, yeah. I am very firm, and I won't deviate when they come. I don't say anything bad, but I'm not going to associate myself with that. I'm not going to say it's okay.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think that there's a lot that is for all of us that's going to help, and we're going to grow from this. I think the big thing, though, Dani, that you said is just, you know, if we've made that mistake, we need to own up to it, and we need to look to change. And, you know, we need to be better. And, right. You know, the being on Big Brother or a podcast or some of these things has given us a bigger platform, and we're called to be better than that. We're called to live a little to a higher standard. And so we want to expect that. you know, of this whole Big Brother family now.
Yeah. And we make fun of each other all the time.
Sure.
And we get angry and stuff like that. But as long as we don't have to be so harsh, it's so unnecessary. And so, like I said, I mean, I make fun of Nicole, I made fun of Dave, I make fun of all of them, right? Because that's just what it is. They're family. But at the end of the day, they're still family. They do some things that I might not like, but I'm not going to sit there and just be dismissive, I just, that's it, right? It's like family. We got family members that get on our nerves and get some that we just don't get on our nerves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you might have a little laugh at their expense, but with family, but they're still family. And so we want to bring in the family here, and we want to have a teachable moment and some growth. And, I really do hope for how this got brought back up again, that this is a moment for it's just, because now it resurfaced and it's out there and it's a thing. And I feel bad for you, Rachel, for your sister, Alyssa there. I guess what I want to know from you is just kind of the final thoughts. Like if somebody only catches a little snippet of this podcast, what is your message?
My message is really I think it's something that we can use as a teachable moment, and something that we can educate people on. And how I really liked what Danielle said, that, that those people might still say that stuff, but that they're not going to say it in front of us. And that maybe that just, even that snippet of us just it's not okay, you can't do that, that it just brings attention to them, and they think, okay, maybe this is going too far, or maybe I need to just check and make sure that I'm not doing these things anymore. And I think that, what I would want for people to see from this whole situation is that, we need to be respectful of people, and we need to really love people. And the most important thing we can do is, be respectful of their beliefs and what they've gone through, and that, educate people, because maybe not saying they don't know, but maybe they don't know. And then also, when you're in that situation, maybe you don't know how to react. And so now maybe people would learn how to react, and they would kind of understand a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's imperative. I think, when you look at us and outside the Big Brother house, it's the same situation inside the Big Brother house. If someone's doing something to another person, stand up for them, speak up. Right. It's not okay to bully somebody. It's not okay to say those words. So just speak up and say, hey, knock it off. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And people are like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, don't say that. Knock it off.
Yeah. No, don't say that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think the thing here is when there's a chance and we can stand up, we need to do that. Right. And then being respectful is just so key. I think this is a good reminder for all of us that we can all be. It's something that I'm working on my 10-year-old with, when I ask her to do something in the house, and she, the eye roll, and she, huffs down the hall, and it's like, hey, you need to respect your dad. But beyond, greater than that, though, it's teaching her now as a 10-year-old so that she will be respectful of a teacher, of some other student, other people in the world, a stranger that she comes across one day when she's in her teens, in her 20s. And, I want that for my kids. That's what I'm trying to do, is to teach them to be kind, to teach them to be respectful, to love everyone. And to not see, you're not better than anybody.
Right.
And I don't know. I think this is just a good reminder for all of us to just kind of go, hey, let's look inward a little bit here. Is there something that I can do to be a better version of myself? Because today we can start, and we can be better than we were yesterday. And if we do that every single day, we're going to grow, we're going to get better. And I think this world would be a little bit of a better place, right? If we all got a little better every day.
Yep. All right. Look at that PSA moment from Mr. Guy.
I don't know.
Loving that.
All right. Rachel, can we keep you for a few minutes? Can you talk about the evictee?
Yeah, I love talking about Big Brother.
Okay, so
I watched it, and you could tell he was like, I'm so over this. How many more questions do I have to answer? Oh my God.
Okay, so we talked to most of these evictees, and we give them the 6 questions that we're allowed to send over, and then they ask them, and these will be 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minute things. I guess they have a 7 to 8 minute window to knock these out in about a minute a question. Dani, this was about 2.5 minutes.
I mean, he was like,
he was done.
He was so done. Grandpa Memphis was out. He was like, I'm
Memphis
done.
was out of the Big Brother house. He was also he didn't want to do this. This was the most house guest hostage footage video that we've had this season.
Rachel, we call it the hostage video because it's like proof of life, because they always look like they're in hostage when they're answering these
when
questions.
you see that in a movie or TV show and they got to hold up a newspaper, that's what this felt like. So I want your take on this.
He did like a neck roll, like, get it over.
Yeah, he was stretching out like, here we go. But in his defense, he got blindsided. Then the following morning, they wake him up early, California time. They've been sleeping, 14 hours a day here in the Big Brother house at this point.
Yeah.
So it was rough, and he was just, I'm sure, just his head was still spinning. So we asked Memphis some questions. The first one is about Cody and Enzo. Were they really your final two? And if so, knowing what you know now, would that still be your choice?
Cody and Enzo were definitely my final two. But knowing what I know now, I probably would have taken the other version of the Wise Guys, the Christmas and Enzo version, and not the Cody one.
Huh.
Okay. So you think he would have taken Christmas?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
But there's a chance, though, if you take Christmas there, you let her win this game, right? There's a chance.
Yeah, but you have to look at who's been in fights and conflicts and all that stuff. Remember, Memphis was trying to play a jury management because he's never gotten a jury vote ever. So I think he picked Enzo because he really wanted to sit next to Enzo in the final two. Unfortunately, Enzo was his downfall because Enzo spilled the beans to Cody.
Okay.
And I think he knew Christmas was more loyal to him than Enzo based on what happened to him. So that's why he says that.
Rachel, wouldn't you agree? Christmas really proved herself loyal to the committee.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I'm surprised that Memphis was going to stick with Cody, because to be completely honest, I would have thought 100% that Memphis would be with Christmas, because if I was in Memphis's shoes, I would see Cody and Nicole as a duo. I would see Enzo kind of maybe not having anyone. And then I would think Memphis has Christmas as a duo, right? That's what I was under the. So I'm really surprised to hear that he wasn't considering even taking Christmas to the final two, especially because I think if anyone he could beat, Memphis would beat Christmas even more than Enzo, because I think there's a chance that the jury would be more in favor of voting for Enzo win than a Memphis win.
Yeah.
I didn't think Memphis was well liked. I keep saying that. He just did not really have those great relationships, with the exception of his relationship with Christmas, but I didn't see it.
But they also saw him turn on the social game way late. They were like, oh, all of a sudden he's asking me about my family like 10 minutes before I'm getting kicked out of the house. So I think he waited too late to do that part of the game. We also heard, though, several people say, Dani, who was it that said Christmas told me that I was going to be evicted? And so Christmas played some of that social game. Yeah, that's right.
Davon said the people that told her she was going to be evicted, she appreciated that. The ones that didn't, she said she had a problem with. So I was like, oof.
So this is an interesting setup here, and we're going to talk at the very end the big spoiler of where things finally stand. Going into what will be Thursday night for this eviction. But I think it's interesting if there were the path for a Christmas Enzo or a Christmas. I think Nicole wins over Christmas, but Enzo Christmas, like maybe Christmas wins. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I over Enzo. I don't know, because that likes Enzo, right? That's the problem.
Everybody loves him.
Yeah, he's such a good social gamer. It's the thing. He's just like, he's the meow meow. Like, you can't dislike.
So here's the thing, because it is an All-Stars edition, it's not voting for the winner that's well liked. They want someone that's going to make some moves, and they have to respect the game player. So I agree. If this was maybe a different version of Big Brother, maybe Enzo will have a better chance of winning because of the social game. But if he doesn't make a big move, it's going to be hard to give him the game. So I think most of them are thinking that, maybe with the exception of maybe the David and Kevin, But that's what they need. They want people who are going to play.
Yeah. Let's talk about David's. Oh, go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, we see that in the jury segments. They do want someone that's playing, and that David says, like, she wants to give her something, right? But then I also feel like with the competition wins, he has kind of shown, I mean, hands down, Cody's, in my opinion, the winner. But Cody. But doesn't make who cuts Cody. That could be also a big factor for the jury.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, whoever cuts Cody, they will probably win the game.
They would deserve to win the game if they did that.
Yeah,
that's a big move right now.
A big move, and it's just they cannot sit there and look at that man and go, "Oh, it's okay to sit next to him," because it's just like you got to get rid of him. So even if Nicole or Enzo cuts Cody, even though it would be an ultimate betrayal, it's a great game move. And I think the jury will totally give the game to that person.
100%.
But do they have the chutzpah to do it?
That's the problem. That's the problem. Because it's where you need an Enzo to make a move like that. And I just don't think he's going to do it. It's going to be the Jersey boys. I think it's going to be Jersey boys till the final two.
No, I think Nicole would do it because she is that person.
She wants to be a two-time winner. Yeah.
I think she'll do it. I think she will cut Cody. And
if Nicole did that, the whole first half of her game would be excused because that would be, I mean, and but it's like I didn't think she played a good game. But if she could cut Cody in the end, then that's ruthless.
That's pretty ruthless. I have to tip my hat to that one if she did that.
So everybody's changing the tune of like she shouldn't win, but if she could pull that off,
right?
I don't say I will vote for her. I would probably it would make me think about it. Remember, I told you my thoughts.
You're saying there's at least a chance. Yeah.
I can't. What happened to me in my original season? I'm just not about the person that just chills and don't do nothing, and at the end they do a couple big moves and like, oh, let's give them the money. And I've been working my tail off for the entire game. I get no love. So no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah. I'm sure if she cut Cody though, he's not giving her a vote. You think?
Oh, he would. I think he would give her a vote.
Okay. All right.
If he wouldn't do that, that'd be so disrespectful to his game because he knows better than that. He will have to give her a vote.
I will say this though, if Cody were to get clipped at this point in time, I think all of America would be just shocked. I know it seems like this is the season that we predict week after week after week, the way it goes, but that would be a shocking moment in Big Brother 22.
Oh yeah. Yes. Because we're just waiting for their hair percentage. It's like, when are they gonna announce?
When's Cody gonna win the game? I mean, at this point, that's what it looks like is gonna happen. Okay, so let's talk about the antithesis of the great players that David this season, and we teased about him and all this stuff, but we wanted to know from Memphis about David because Memphis got his sights set on him. He's like, why? David was clearly focused, clearly new at this BB game. Why were you, Memphis, so focused on getting him out? So listen to this.
David was new at the Big Brother game, which to me was more of a threat because I'd never seen him play and I had no read on him at all, which makes him a huge wild card in this game. And that's why I had to get him out.
I mean, was that the right move?
Well, I'm just going to tell you, speaking from my experience when I played with Chicken George.
Chicken George has had so much airtime on this podcast, Dani.
I tell you, he
ruined All Stars for you.
He totally ruined it. So remember, Chicken George had an opportunity now, to kick out Janelle, and he chose not to kick out Janelle. He kicked out Holly instead, and he almost put me up. So I empathize where Memphis is coming from, but as the weeks progressed in the house, clearly he knew David was awful at the game. So why would he be so focused on him? Or why not flip the script and build a relationship with David and maybe work something else out? It just boggles my mind where he was so focused on him when he had Cody's and the Tylers sitting there. It's just like, you guys are focusing this energy on the wrong spots. And so I didn't understand. I get him for the first nom, But the second and third, it's just like, why are you wasting these nominations on David?
Rachel, what did you think when you saw the announcement about the All-Stars season 2, Big Brother 22 cast, and David was on it?
Yeah, and David.
Although I will say, out of all of the first evictees, I thought he was a good choice because he was recent, and I thought that we didn't see what he was playing, and we saw him kind of understanding the season when he was evicted. And so I thought he was going to be a great player. I watched all his interviews. I was like, oh my gosh, he can cry on cue. This guy's got it. He just didn't have the chance. So I thought he's really not an all-star, but I see why they pick him, right?
Right.
So then I'm thinking in my head, this season, the more we see him, I'm just like, what is he saying? Like, he doesn't know what a veto is. And he's like, I don't understand the alliance. And he's lying to Devon. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
what are you doing? It hurt my head.
Like, learn about what you're doing. Learn about the show. Like,
watch previous seasons.
We asked him in the exit interview if he had seen the show, and because we knew he had the 2 weeks that he was sequestered.
And we thought, oh no.
Yeah, he really didn't. He said he'd watched a little of season 20.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
See, and that's
David
part in David, because if David did have the chance to play like the unknown, to play like the rookie, to play like had no idea what's going on, but to actually be this Big Brother super genius that had watched every single season, he had to have known, even in that minimum 2-week sequester, he could have watched every single season, watched All Stars from season 7, watched, some other seasons, whatever they would let him watch. And he could have learned, but it was like,
nope.
What? No. Yeah. And so I understand where Memphis, again, I like what you said, Danielle, I understand where Memphis is saying he's a wild card. He didn't know if he was playing him. However, I agree. It's like, when you see how bad he's playing and he's not winning competitions, he doesn't have any, he has no one in the house. So why are you going to ever target someone? And especially in that triple eviction, over a winner, you guys could have gotten Nicole and you voted out David. That's when Enzo, I think, starts to play for final 3.
Yep.
Yeah. Or for third place. Yeah.
Or even Memphis. Memphis, I want David out. I'm like, why? I don't understand why.
All right. It didn't seem to, but there was always that chance, Dani and I had talked about, Rachel, that if David went all the way, what if that guy made it to final 2, somehow skated along, started winning some competitions when it got down to the final 5 or something? Then this guy who did not know the game and sort of, just let him skate through, and then ends up in the end, even if he didn't win it, final 2, because somebody just dragged him along. That would have been frustrating for all of us on an all-star season. So I get why Memphis clipped him. I don't like to see anybody get focused on one player, because it can wreck their game.
It wrecks your game.
Yep.
Okay, so we asked Memphis on the outcome of this, if there was a move or a regret or a shot he wished he would have taken.
I don't think there's anything that I would have done differently. I mean, the main thing is obviously vetting out Enzo a little bit more. Obviously, he spilled the beans. Either trust me or, he was more loyal to Cody. So I think vetting out Enzo is probably one thing that I would do differently.
I don't understand. Really bet anybody in the committee, though.
I don't know why Enzo wanted to keep Memphis, but he told Cody about the Wise Guys Part 2. He didn't have to tell Cody anything. That was the reason why Cody didn't flip the script on Memphis. If Enzo would have just been quiet, because it was no point, he was safe either or predictions, right? He had more shield, he had more covering. He had nothing to gain by letting Cody know about the Wise Guys Part 2. It really didn't make any sense. And then you can't go to Cody and say, hey, I want to keep Memphis, when you just told him about the Wise Guys Part 2.
No, but I think that was the real Enzo going, I like Cody. I believe in him. This is my bro.
He's playing the bro
Jersey boys.
The Jersey boys, but he's going to lose.
Yeah. I think he, if it continues in this trajectory, it could even be Cody and Enzo sitting in those final two chairs. And Enzo might even bring Cody along, and then
he's gonna lose.
He's gonna lose to him.
So
I don't know. I mean,
he's not being more cutthroat. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, let's ask another question here. Get this answer from Memphis. Would you ever play the game of Big Brother again? And if so, who would be the one person you'd want to play with?
I love this answer. Listen to this, Rachel.
I don't know if I'll be back on the Big Brother house. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in 10 years. I need another 10 years to get myself back to normal. But I think if I would want to go back in the house against Dan. And I say against Dan, not with Dan.
Oh gosh.
I see, that's that arrogance in him. I believe it too. He probably he's like, I can't believe Dan beat me. I didn't get no jury vote. I want to go in there and show him what I'm capable of. And I could see him doing that, against Dan. I actually believe him.
And he would probably try to evict Dan too, right?
I believe it. Yeah, I think he'll try to evict Dan.
Oh yeah,
yep, absolutely.
That would be target number one. I think if that's the case. Although that could be a brilliant way for the two of them to end up on a season together and have some secret alliance of sorts where they act like they're at each other.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Who knows?
I think Dan could pull it off. I don't know if Memphis could.
No, I don't think Dan could pull off
stuff.
much anything if he had some true legends in there with him.
Oh.
No misting here. No misting here.
While we're talking about playing the game of Big Brother again, Rachel, we know now why you didn't do All Stars 2.
Yeah.
you were cooking something. But did you get called? Did you get asked about this? Did you get that email?
I did. I called for the show, and I told them I would do it pregnant.
You see you sitting there just balancing with your big old belly. Like, I got this.
So you said yes, and they said, no way.
Yeah. Well, Brendan never let me, first of all. But then it's funny because I was like trying to wheel and deal. I was like, well, my sister can play for me in the physical competitions, and we'll play.
So you were going to do this team thing like the twins on that. Okay.
She's like a designated hitter. Oh my God. She would have submitted a reasonable accommodation due to her pregnancy. I must have my sister be in.
That game would have been so stressful at some point. That
would have been great TV,
you could have had a
man.
baby in the house.
No, because her sister would have done all the comps. It would have been hilarious. I would have loved every moment of it. That would have been funny.
Oh my. This is probably the greatest thing that I've ever heard of somebody who, people are like, I don't know, and maybe I don't. And you were gonna do it pregnant if they would have allowed. Wow.
If they allowed, I probably would have gone in there, even if there was no sister involved. I probably would have done it pregnant.
Like, oops. As your belly gets bigger.
Yeah. Comps. I don't know.
That is awesome. Well, we would like to see you back again to play that game. An all-star season needs you if they ever do this again. Or we were talking about fans versus favorites. That would be a really great thing. So some die-hard Big Brother fans, and then some of the great favorites like you, Rachel. Okay, so let's get back to Memphis here and the honesty from those other players. We asked him in the goodbye message, do you think Enzo was honest to you about it all? What Enzo said to Memphis, and what did you think about Cody's goodbye message and the knowledge of the two wise guys alliances?
I want to believe that Enzo was sincere about his message. I think he really wanted to keep me around, but ultimately he was definitely wanting to make Cody happy and do what Cody wanted to do. So it might be a fault in his game later on. So we'll see. Cody knowing about the alliance was obviously news to me. It just made me realize that the bond and the agreements that we had were not real. And Enzo, even though for some reason I can't wrap my head around why Enzo would tell him that, even though because it would help Enzo's game ultimately, didn't really make any sense to me. But, it's Enzo. So I don't think a lot of things make sense.
Nope. Interesting.
That's true.
Meow, meow.
Yep.
I mean, are you surprised here that he talks about he just nothing makes sense about Enzo, but he kept him so long and worked with him?
Well, it didn't. Like I said, it didn't make any sense for Enzo to spill the beans on the Wise Guy Alliance because he didn't gain anything,
No.
and then he just pissed off Cody, and Cody's like, no, Memphis has to go. And it always cracks me up. Like, I thought we had something, real. And I'm like, you're making side deals left and right. Like, they forget how shady they're being. It just cracks me up like that. I thought we had a relationship and I thought we had trust. I'm like, you just made two different alliances. What are you talking about? These people, like, they know we watch the show, right?
We see the show. Yes. Yeah.
Ay, Dios mío. It's like, are you serious? Come on, man.
Rachel, when you watched Memphis's game, I mean, did you think that he was doing it right, and this was a guy who was going to coast all the way there, just sitting back like he's the Godfather or the puppet master or any of those things?
I didn't think he was a puppet master. When Julie said that every week, I was like, I don't see it. I just didn't see it. But I did think he was playing a good enough game to coast for someone to bring him to the final two. Because I was thinking, in my opinion, with Memphis, like, I didn't think anyone would vote for him. And so it's like, unless it's up there Christmas, I didn't see Memphis winning, the game at all.
Right.
So I never saw him as a puppet master. I know he was winning these competitions, but I guess maybe I'm thinking that the jury is not playing the All-Star season game that Danielle thinks. Because I'm thinking in my head, watching those jury segments and knowing these people, I don't know that they're going to vote as All-Stars. I'm wondering if they're going to vote as like, a bitter jury or first-time players or
bitter
who they like
for one. Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate.
I know, and that's what I'm kind of thinking too. And I just I don't see them as voting as an all-star. I see Ian voting as an all-star. I see maybe Danielle Donato voting like for who she thinks does legitimately play the better game. But besides that, I'm just not sure.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say, I'm hoping the people that lost the game that sat in the final two, Tyler, Dani, Memphis, hopefully those three will be more logical and play and vote based on the best player because they know that they lost. I mean, I think Dani in her head thinks she should have won over her father, but she failed to build those personal relationships. Memphis lost to Dan, and then Tyler, who clearly, if you watch the season, he played a better game than Casey, but Casey, who was considered the furniture, played a better social game and kicked butt at the end. So I would think those three will know better than vote that way. I hope.
Yeah.
Rachel, I think you bring up a really good point, and it goes back even to what happened on our season, Dani, season 3. The reason that juries are sequestered now, that social game is so important. And if you don't play it right, I think even with these jurors going, we want the game or we want all this stuff, because I watch that every season, year after year, and I go, okay, they're going to be ready to vote on best gameplay, and here are the people at the end. And then I start hearing them ask questions like, ooh, that's a bitter jury. And then it goes the personal route, which makes me look at these contestants in there now, and I go, Enzo is really, really dangerous because he is loved. Everybody comes out of this game and they're like, man, Enzo's great. He chats and he tells stories and he's funny and he's engaging and he knows about them and he asks questions. And
but he got to make a move, Jason.
He
has
does.
to make a big move.
The one thing that I want to talk about here, though, is now the new bit of breaking news. A little bit of a spoiler here. We know the HOH, and that is dun dun dun. The meow meow. So here he is. He woke up. He stepped up. Rachel, were you shocked, excited, all of that good stuff when you heard that?
I'm really excited because I thought I like that he stepped up. I played with him on season 12, and we all in my cast that like when Enzo goes in there, you love him, but you're like he can win a competition to save his life. So,
right.
What Enzo is this? And so it's great to see him wake up at the final 4. I'm crossing fingers if he can win. I think he could do the endurance, but I'm not sure. But I know if he doesn't win endurance, I think he has a shot at the physical second part of that 2-part HOH that they do, because it's days or it's going to be like, something physical-ish, I think. So I think, I'm glad he's making the moves and stepping up. I mean, Final Four HOH doesn't really make moves because it's the veto winner, right? That's gonna.
That's the most powerful player in that week. Is the veto winner.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's just hypothetical, because I'm going to spoil some more stuff about the veto. But hypothetical, would it make sense for Enzo to try to make that big move, like you're talking about, guys? We were saying, like, to clip Cody. Would that have been the move to make at this point in Enzo's HOH here? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't Cody now, Cody's winning one of those final two HOHs. He's making it to the final. That's the thing about Cody. Like, so close. If you don't clip him right now, it's gonna be, he's in it. He's gonna be in that final two, where they turn the cards or whatever this season. He'll be there.
He'll be there.
I agree, and that's because, and I'm saying all this hypothetically because fans know, if they've been watching the feeds, we're hearing the discussions of who won the veto, and we know
Cody.
This kid did it. Cody won the veto.
Yeah,
he saved
Cody,
himself.
He just won Big Brother 22.
I agree. I think he won. He won this season. I think it's done. I'm ready to, for them to go ahead and start printing his name on the check. Cody's walking out of there with $500,000. I don't see a scenario that he gets clipped out.
Now that he decides to go home, if he wants more respect from those jury members, if he sent Nicole home.
100%.
I agree.
If
he won't do it though. And I've been watching those conversations that they're having, and Nicole keeps going. And Nicole, it seems like, is going, do what's best for your game. Like, and I gotta say, that's terrible for your gameplay. And maybe it's something strategic where she knows that's how she can play on Cody, is to really,
she's a snake.
Really reel him in that way. But she's
Nicole's
saying
the biggest snake in the game. I don't know why people don't say that. I'll say it. Rachel, you can nod with me. Nicole, she's the girl next door, but she will cut you and be like, oh my God, and then play the victim. Like, I didn't mean to do it. Oh, why are you mad at me? But you be walking out the door and she be still crying the victim. So Nicole, of all those players in that house, I think she's the one that will have the chutzpah to cut Cody. She's a cutthroat player.
So let's just talk about this, because I predict that if Cody is going to keep Nicole, I think he will. I think he's going to be true to his word. He seems to be that way. Now anything could change throughout the rest of the week, but right now, and we'll see live Thursday night. But I think Christmas goes home, right? Do we all? We think we sort of agree on this. What if Nicole won that next HOH?
It's the final three. It's right.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, Nicole, she's clipping somebody. She's going to decide who she sits in that chair with.
And if she clips Cody, there is a chance that jury votes for her over Enzo. Yeah. It'll be close. But
if she clips Cody, she will probably win the game.
I think she would be a 2-time winner of Big Brother.
Yeah.
I agree. I think if Cody was smart, he would clip Nicole this week. He would get rid of Nicole, take Enzo to final two to guarantee his win, because he doesn't want to, have that same situation that happened with Derek. If he took Christmas final two, you know what I mean? Like, Cody would win over either Christmas or Enzo, but I mean, he'll win over Nicole too. But the problem is if Nicole did cut him, and we don't know what she'll do, then there's that chance. I don't think there's any way Enzo cuts Cody no matter what.
I don't think he would do it. He can't. This man lost to Lane and Hayden at the brigade. Like, he really doesn't get that. Like, he needs to get rid of Cody.
He has to see it. But I don't think that at this point, now that Cody won that veto, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do. Enzo plays for third place again if Cody decides to take Nicole.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. That's the worst. That is the worst, right, Jason? I don't care. Like, final two, but the third.
No, I know. I know. That's where I was. Don't you know? Yeah, when that second part of the HOH competition, and then the third part of that third parter, and I know Lisa won. It was like, this is not going to be good.
Especially when if you're going to sit in the final two and win. You know what I mean? You're that close. Like when Janelle, probably in her first season, All-Stars, I don't think she would have won All-Stars. That's if she would have made it to the final two. But but you, Jason, if you would have sat there, and Kevin, it's just, you think of those people who went out third, Diane, Henry, it was just like, if they would have sat in those final two, they would have won. So third is like the worst. That's the worst.
That's what the next battle will be like. The third placers.
There you go.
For season 23rd, and we're gonna have the
third place.
Okay.
All right.
All of those of us, guys. Any final thoughts on this season, where we are right now with little more than a week, 2 weeks to go? Or, Rachel, are you gonna have this baby finale night?
I know,
October 28th. Oh, she just kicked out. She dropped out on that question.
No, there's a chance I have the baby finale night. We joke about this all the time. I'm like, yeah, I think the baby's gonna come finale night, just because, like, we already know Cody wins. Cut him the check. So what's the point? Let's have Rachel's baby.
There you go.
And name the baby Cody.
No, she better not. Ew. No more Cody.
Dani said, ew. Okay, Rachel, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, guys.
This has been great. Hey, we're gonna they're rolling the music here. Little brother plays that in, and we like a little thing. So let's all we need to see the bump again, and we're gonna you're gonna bump it out.
Look at that big old belly. Woo!
Rachel, we love it. We are so excited for you and Brendan. Tell your sister hello. Thanks for coming on today.
All right,
I think
you
we
guys.
all have grown and learned from this.
Yeah, we
Lots
did.
of love, Dani, Rachel.
All right, Big Brother family.
Big Brother family.
All right, bye-bye, guys.